In Builderius, we use collection to display looped content. This could be blog posts on the blog page, or custom posts in a section related, etc. In this video, I will show you how to use collection by reviewing 3 examples of usage of the collection. In this first example, I'm going to display blog posts. You see here how it will look like at the end. I'm going to delete this collection and start building it from the scratch. I choose div container, my element where my collection will be added, where my loop will be shown. In order to add a new collection element, I can use panel of quick elements, this one, and here I see this icon of database and it says collection. I can click here and collection will be added as a child for this div element. Or I can click elements and just type col, and here I see this item collection. I click it and this item will be added on the page. Collection element is a composite element. After adding collection in my navigator, in elements tree, I have 2 elements. The first one is collection and its immediate child is template. Inside template element, I will be adding regular elements like divs, headings, images, etc. Actually, I will be building a loop item from scratch. Everything inside the template will be looped later, will be repeated with data displayed from the collection. At the moment, I see nothing here because neither data has been added to the collection, nor I did not add any elements inside template, so there is nothing to display yet. Let me add data first. So I click on collection, I go to data source setting and click this small database icon. Since this template is archive, this is blog posts index page, it can be seen here. So I have category archive and dynamic data tags for archive, and I will be using this first standard dynamic data tag for displaying posts on archive page. So they are regular posts. I click this item. Dynamic data tag is added into data source setting. I don't see anything yet because my template is not created yet. So I click on template element. I would like to build a template item. I'm going to start with div as a outer wrapper of my item. I click this element div. It will be quite basic template. So for that, I will not be adding any special styles. However, I certainly need to display this basic data that I plan to display. So it is heading. For that, I click heading element. I click div again and I choose div. I click this div item again and I choose link. Okay, this is my very basic example. So div is a wrapper for the whole item, and insert each item there is a heading for post title, there is a div for post excerpt, and there is an anchor which will be read more, a link or button. Meanwhile, in the canvas I already see items repeated. I assume 10 times because this is how many items, post items I get from a database. So here I will be displaying 10 most recent posts. For now, there are placeholders like heading, inline link, and there is no post content or accept at all. And for change that, I will be displaying specific data for specific element inside the collection item. I click heading. I go to content setting. I remove this placeholder heading. I click database icon and there is a special category loop. This category and dynamic tags under this category with this loop icon, they will be added for those elements which are children of the collection. The data of the collection, of course, if there are any data, in my case there is data, then those data will be parsed and these dynamic data tags will be displayed. Since I chosen heading, I'm going to add to display title of the post. I type title and there is one dynamic tag, post title. I click it. The body of the collection will be re-rendered immediately. I already see the post titles. Next element, div, and I'm going to display post excerpt. Again, I choose setting content. I click database icon. Here I search for word excerpt. There is a dynamic tag. I click it. There is this data shown. The third element is read more link. I have chosen anchor. I change the placeholder text to read more. Okay, like this. And then in the setting URL, instead of placeholder, I'm going to display a link to the post. Once again, I click on database icon. I search for a link. I have the dynamic data tag post link. Now when I hover over readme, this one, you can see the actual link to the page in the bottom left corner of the page. It leads to post number 22. This one leads to post number 1. My URLs for these elements are dynamically displayed and related to the post showing in the item. Let's add a basic styling. I choose div. I go to styles and add class card like this. And if I want to display this link as a button instead of inline text, I can go to content. This is anchor element. Here I have set in link type. I can switch to button link. Now I have my blog page ready and displaying latest, most recent posts. Let's review another example. I have prepared custom dynamic data, which are related cakes. It's a custom post type. They are related to the current one, currently displayed one cake, cannolo siciliano, and they are related by taxonomy, custom taxonomy ingredient. After clicking on the button get data for this custom data variable, I can preview the data of that returned from the database. Here there are 3 related posts and I'm going to display them below this heading. I have chosen related element. I'm going to add collection. It will be added inside my element related. Once again, what I do is for setting data source, I click database icon and I search for my custom data var related suites. So I write related. Okay, here, related suites, related posts. I have chosen dynamic data for collection. So now I can start creating template for displaying these posts. It's very similar to the previous example. I will make it faster. This time, here I preview what data do I have and what data do I want to display. So here I have title, excerpt and date. For the sake of this tutorial, I will be displaying only post title and post date. So for me, it's enough to have heading and span, which is simple text. It's a span element. I click heading, I remove placeholder, and here once again I have category loop, I have dynamic data text ID, etc. I need post title, this one, and the second is span, and here I remove placeholder text and display post date. And these are my related items. For heading, I switch to H3. And also I can add basic styling. All these items are inside collection, so for collection I can choose flex, and then some spacing. It's enough, this one. Let me add also padding. Like this. Okay, and for each item I also can add the card. Yeah, like this. So here I have sweets with similar ingredients and 3 items from the custom query. This is custom query loop, and by using collection I have built these items. Let me show you the next third example. Here I will be using custom JSON for collection, so the data will not be coming from a database directly. Instead, I will be pasting this JSON directly into collection and then displaying the list of reviews. Let me remove my collection at all. Now I choose container and click collection, and then here I have prepared my JSON data. I made these 2 examples. This is the same data, just in the compact format here, and this format I will be using for collection. For setting data source, I paste inside this JSON. And the second example, this is again the same data, but it is expanded for better preview. What data do I have here and what types of data? For instance, it can be seen that author name is just a string. However, I also have review photos, which is array, and I will show you how to display this different data. Let me choose template, add div, and then heading inside. Let's start from the name, author name. Here I remove placeholder, click database icon, and I have my dynamic tag author name. Once again, I always add this style card. It makes cards more visible. For collection, I'm going to choose layout flex and with some gap, like this one. Okay, I have my items with author name. Next one will be review text. I add div, I go to content setting, I click on the database icon and open this dialog with dynamic data tags. There is a tag that is called review text. Now I have the body of the review here. So far we have seen how to display text-based information, string-based information. Going back to my JSON, I see some keys in the JSON. They are arrays, like review photos. What if I would like to show these photos? How to do this? I'm going to add another div, however not inside this one, of course. Okay, let me switch. This one is with review, so we will call it content. Okay, and the second div will be images. So now we can distinguish both divs. If I go to content and click this icon, there is no dynamic tag for images. It's not visible here. It is because it is array, not just string, so I cannot display it directly here. For displaying arrays, we would use collection. The first intention would be to add another collection inside this one collection, right? Like a child element. However, we don't do this. Instead, we just add template. Let's review this special element. I have added template inside div images. I have chosen this element here, and this element also has interesting settings like data source, and when I click database icon here, there is also category loop. In this case there are two tags because I have two keys in my JSON with array type of data. In order to display data which is array, I'm using template. This is the way of displaying nested data of type array. In this case, I'm going to display photos, so I click review photos. And this template acts like a child template. So once again here, I build template of the item which will be looped. Let's take a look again what this array is. Review photos is array of strings. They are not objects like here. They do not have keys. They content itself. I certainly need image because this is how I will be displaying images. So I add element image inside the template. I choose setting URL. Here click database icon. This is the way of displaying dynamic data. Here, instead of the name like image or something, there is just array item, which is dot inside curly braces. In cases when we have array data with strings, not objects, so without keys, we can reference these items with this structure, just a dot inside curly braces. Let me add some styles to display these images in a more fancier way. I choose div images as a wrapper for my images. Click layout flex and add some spacing like LG. Okay. Now I click image and set maximum width for the image, which could be 250 pixels. Okay. Now let's review what do we have. Some review items have images, some others they don't have images. However, for now the small issue is that regardless having or not having images, this div images wrapper will be added to all items. In case I want to add some spacing, and let's do this. What if I add spacing like 30 pixels? You see that spacing is also added here and here, even though we don't have images in these items. It is because div images wrapper still rendered for these items. What we want to do is to conditionally display or do not display the whole div images wrapper and of course all children images. For that we once again will be using template. Template is a special element that is used with collection. I have added a new template and now I'm adding this whole structure div images right inside template as a child. So I have template and then another template. In the second template, as you remember, I have used setting data source and inserted a dynamic data tag review photos for displaying these images. For this outer template, I will be using another attribute. So I'm going to add a custom one. Its name is data condition, and here there should be expression to conditionally load or do not load this image. We are using expression language here, and I know that some items inside the JSON, they are empty. To be precise, they are null, or they are arrays filled with images. So for that, I just want to insert this key review photos, and if this key, if the actual data is null, whole template will not be rendered. If it's not null, the template will be rendered. Additionally, in such cases, I would add also condition clause that if review photos is not empty. This is not my case here. I can skip this step. However, for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to write it anyway. So I do this. Sorry, not asterisk, but and then I write negation is empty, so not is empty, and the same key review photos. So this one. Here I have a condition that says if review photos is not null, is not empty, display it. And this is exactly what is going on here. So let me show you once again. I remove the whole condition and you see the space because the div is rendered. When I add condition, the div is not being rendered, it is conditionally excluded.